My boyfriend cheated on me with an Indian scammer. He had sent her $100 for some supposed flat tire, but the real gut punch came when I found a message from the day before. I had been with my boyfriend for 3 years. For the most part, I thought things were steady, perhaps not without their minor flaws, but nothing that gave me serious pause until recently. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, something began to feel off. For weeks, he had been spending more and more time in the front room, always glued to his phone. Every time I asked, he gave vague answers, brushing me off as though my concerns were unfounded. And yet, a knot had formed in my gut, one that tightened with every evasive word he offered. I didn't want to snoop. The thought of going through his things felt wrong, invasive even, but suspicion gnawed at me, demanding answers that I couldn't shake off. So I checked our phone logs. There it was, a number I didn't recognize. My stomach lurched. I called it, and a woman answered. She sounded startled and quickly ended the call, saying, "I'll call you back." What followed sent me into a spiral. Not the woman, but a man with an Indian accent called me instead. He made a proposition. He'd give me the text between my boyfriend and this mystery woman, but only if I paid him. Desperation had me by the throat, and before I could think clearly, I had sent him $25. The texts came through, and I wish they hadn't. The messages were filled with the same emojis I had seen on my boyfriend's phone, but the content was far worse than I had imagined. Intimate exchanges between him and this woman, messages where he asked her to let him know when she got home, and worse, he had sent her $100 for some supposed flat tire. Then there was the chilling message from the day before, "I'm gonna run the numbers before we meet up." When I confronted him, his defense was weak. He claimed they had never met, that it was all just texting, as though that mitigated the situation. But why, then, would he talk about meeting her? Why send her money? His explanations were thin, full of holes, and my mind began to race with possibilities. Was this some elaborate Indian scam, or was it something far more insidious? There was no denying what I found next. His phone had all the same recent emojis, the very ones he had been using with her. He couldn't talk his way out of that. Even more absurd, when I confronted him, he was on the phone with his mother, of all people, trying to spin a narrative about some supposed bot or scam, as if that would explain everything. The more I thought about it, the more the details started to crystallize. Mirrors he had set up in the front room, the early morning texting sessions while I slept, it all pointed to something he had gone to great lengths to conceal. I didn't know what to believe anymore. His claim that they had never met in person seemed less and less likely. Even if they hadn't, the emotional betrayal was there, tangible and undeniable. This wasn't some harmless flirtation. It was betrayal, sending her money, hiding months of messages from me, lying to my face while we shared a roof. Part of me wanted to believe him. Part of me wanted to believe that this was all some strange, convoluted scam, that he was merely a fool caught up in something beyond his control. But no matter how much I wanted to, I couldn't ignore the facts. The secrecy, the lies, the money. It was all too much. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired. Now I'm left in a limbo, unsure of what to do. Betrayal clings to me like a shadow, and the future, once so clear, now feels shrouded in doubt. I want to believe in his innocence, but I can't shake the feeling that something far worse lies beneath the surface. All I know for sure is that I feel lost, and the road ahead looks grim. I deeply sympathize with the pain you are enduring. It is only natural that such a blow to your trust would leave you hurt and bewildered, as though the very foundation of your relationship has been shaken. Regardless of whether they met in person, the emotional betrayal stands before you, undeniable in its cruelty. The secrecy, the money exchanged, and those unguarded texts, they all point to a breach that is hard, if not impossible, to ignore. You must heed the voice of your own conscience, for it rarely errs in matters of the heart. If something feels amiss, you are not wrong to distance yourself, to shield your soul from further harm. Allow yourself the time to grapple with these emotions, for decisions made in haste rarely bring peace. You are deserving of truth, and if he cannot offer you that, then it may be wise to reflect on what you truly need from this bond in the days ahead. Remain steadfast in your own wisdom, and trust that the strength within you will guide you toward the resolution you seek. You will, in time, discover the path that is right for you.